What's up, everyone? This is Edward back with another video. I'm testing out a microphone really quick, and it's been maybe a couple of days since I've done a live. So, first of all, I did want to congratulate. I wanted to thank everybody for getting me to 3,000 subs. That definitely means a lot. Some people may think 3,000 subs is not a lot, and it's not necessarily. But given like how I do this channel, there's definitely a milestone, and we always like to celebrate milestones. I'm definitely aiming to accelerate that. So, we're coming into June, which is 6 months. So I'm definitely gonna be aiming to accelerate that. I'm working on some stuff to create some, not different type of content, but way the content is presented differently in order to format this into more of a traditional channel. So not just to get more subscribers or more views, not really that, but just so much I can allow you all to digest what I'm saying and interact with what I'm saying better than just doing the live streams, which I'm doing it for an hour. And it'll be easier for you to consume. It will. I mean, I'm definitely going to keep doing the live streams because I just point and click, and that's more of a Q&A thing that I do. But it'll be some other really cool stuff, the way I categorize and organize it. And it's also going to be more business stuff I'm going to be talking about in this channel, more just more what to do about shit, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. So it's still gonna be barbershop talk. Still gonna be, if the fuckery is there, the fuckery will be talked about. But it's gonna be, yeah. And also, I need to I'm definitely gonna reboot that, get that classic black man where it needs to be, and that's where it's gonna be some really good stuff. Because I have some stuff that I really want to deploy, opportunity that I want to deploy in the manosphere to give people vehicles to really get some stuff done. I think I am in a unique position given kind of some of the stuff that I do and given some of the, chains that are on people that I can really help y'all help yourselves. And that's what it's really about. So with that being said, in that spirit, you see the title of the video. So I was listening to a little bit of Art A Moore. Shout out to him. Make sure y'all go subscribe to him. Actually I need to go put him in my preferred channels list. So y'all can check him out. And I'm listening a lot more to BGS's stuff, and I got on there a little bit. And you know, we're talking about politics, and to be fair, I angled the conversation more to a political one. So that was, more not my fault, but my doing. And let me know if this mic is coming in good, if it's coming in better than it generally is. Because this is another headset versus directly through the phone. So give me your feedback on that. But and this is something I deal with in my own household with family members. So this is not just something I just online talking about. Motherfuckers talking about what I could say. I'm cool with shooting shit with people. You all know I like to talk. So this idea that I'm not cool with shooting the shit to shoot the shit, I'm definitely cool to do that. But every interaction that I try to have has to have some value to it. When I say value, doesn't necessarily mean I need to learn from it in a objective sort of way. It more means even from a social value as far as, learning how people work, how people think in a particular subject matter, maybe the part of the demographics of the people or person I'm talking to, stuff like that. Let's see. Okay. Um. Okay. Good. Stuff like that. So it's not so because let's be clear here. Most people can't go down the rabbit hole. Most people can't go down the rabbit hole like a lot of us. When you look at just BGS's stuff, most people can't go down that rabbit hole. They just can't. And the speed in which we'd have to take them down that rabbit hole is quite frankly something that's going to be very uncomfortable. Especially when you think of the urgency they need to know it. Um, and there's that. So, but one thing that, and this happens to me in real life too, a lot of times, is you have to understand that people are connected to their opinions. Like when you look at what happened on that video, with BGS. BGS did like two videos, and he's been doing a couple of them recently where he's been having people on about this 5G shit mainly. And then he had one, then he had another, then later, then he had another one, which is what I'm talking about. One dude came on there, Alan Roger Curry looking dude. Discount Alan Roger Curry looking dude. And then then there was another dude. And by the way, these light skinned dudes, so you making light skinned brothers look bad, which I don't like. I'm very protective of the light skinned image, light skinned male image, because it's quite frankly something that black men, light skinned black men, need to start focusing on because we generally don't focus on it. So anyway, and he had two dudes. One was both of them either were connected to the armed services by relationship to somebody or they was in it. And you have to. I was looking at it's like this TV. It's this product out here on YouTube, but you see commercials on TV called like the Master Class. You know exactly what I'm talking about. If I actually showed it to you, and it has like celebrities. Usually it's in the arts, but they also had the black dude, the black doctor PhD that does the new Cosmos TV show on Fox, the science thing, and he does one, and he was talking about how to think and in this commercial, and he was talking about one must be careful to know enough about a subject to think you're right, but not know enough of a subject to recognize that you're wrong. And that's something that really stuck with me because I can be in that situation at times, or at least enough to where I question myself. And that's one thing I think that separates me from a lot of people, especially when I'm interacting with BGS, is I know how to really take into consideration what somebody's talking about and really question. I know what I don't know, and I know the levels at which I know certain things. So there's a difference between me asking, telling somebody some stuff, and then me, more interacting with, kind of like working with the information in a clay sort of way. And when I disagree, I say vehemently I disagree, and I say and I'll say, look, it remains to be seen. Like that Russell Wilson shit, that shit remains to be seen. Um, that's what I think on that. That I think the reason he got in that relationship, I don't give black men that much credit to plan marriages like that. I just don't because I just don't. A lot of these dudes have not demonstrated to me that they're that forth thinking. Now, Russell Wilson isn't the average black man, so I'll leave that alone. But like I said, I don't sit there and be like, oh, well, I can't be wrong. I say, okay, I understand where you're coming from, and that could be true. I don't think that is, but that definitely could be true. And then I leave it at that because it's not about me being right. It's about the audience getting my perspective, but also getting his, and then me sitting there saying, I definitely acknowledge that what you're saying could be true. I just don't think that's what it is. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I could go all the way back on some lighter stuff to the start, even though that wasn't a matter of right or wrong. That was just a matter, we'll see where it goes. I remember everybody, Angry Man, Charles, everybody jumped on me when it came to me defending the new Star Wars trilogy. I'm talking about after the first movie, because I said, let's see after the second one. And history is history, right? And I defended the Ray, and I said, look, let's see what happens as the story develops. And it turned into a train fucking wreck. Like, absolutely. And you know, and looking back at that, I mean, you didn't know where it was gonna go, to be honest. So the point is, I leave stuff open and like, look, I could be wrong, but this is what I think about it. This is my opinion on it, and this is what this is. But I don't get. It's very few things I get like so passionate about. It could borderline being emotional about. And one of those things, when motherfuckers want to talk to me about the gynocracy shit, when I know that folks don't know what they're talking about half the damn time, then yeah, that can annoy me drastically. But for the most part, what gets on my nerves about a lot of the stuff, the interactions that BGS has with these people, and this is they are emotionally connected to what they think. Like, whenever I talk about something, it is pure, like, what are the logic, what are the facts? I want to know what the right information is. This is why you don't really see me butt heads with BGS as much as others do too, because I care more about what the right information is than me being right. Because I want to be correct, not because I don't want to be dumb, but because I value being accurate because I can move based on accurate information. The more information I have that's accurate, that's in tune to accuracy, the better decisions I can make. Now, this comes back to the original tenets of this video, which is when we're talking about 5G, when we're talking about Corona, when we're talking about all these things, I would ask folks if they were on my channel, it was just me talking to them, I was taking the lead on. I would say, what is the purpose for you wanting to know about 5G? What is the purpose? Because if that's true for 5G, that's been true for all the other quote unquote G's that has been going on. So, what is the purpose and what is the overall goal? It causes cancer. They say phones cause cancer. We still use them. That's what I would want to know. Very open ended question. What is the actual practical value of you getting to the bottom of this information? Because I know what the practical value of me getting to the bottom of the gynocracy is. So, what's the practical value of that? That's the first question. The second question is, let's say you right. Let's say everything you say is exactly how you say it. What do you do now? Or what do you suggest be done about it? Like, do you even have a political agenda, on it? I'm not talking about like, you got stuff active and you taking action. I'm just talking about in theory. Have you actually mapped out, okay, this will lead to this will lead to this will lead to this. So where I'm stuck is people, a plurality of people coming into knowledge as well as understanding and acceptance of my point of view. Then we move to this next step. So basically, I'm here trying to promote my point of view because I need to move the needle to that point. Because when I do this stuff on this gynocracy stuff, because people could say the gynocracy is the same thing. I don't control it. What is part of it is what I just said, but also part of it is also for me to kind of map out and really understand how to navigate in the black community as well. More like a double agent, so to speak, because I need to get out of this community when I need to get out of it without compromising myself. It's kind of comparable to understanding what Hollywood is, how Hollywood views a black man, and understanding what are your goals in Hollywood and how to get those goals without putting on a fucking red dress or a dress, and being honest about the lengths that how far you can get with those goals, because you don't wind up like every other person in Hollywood, not just actors but also directors, where it's like you do great work, you make great money, but for some reason you don't. It's not even about respect. You just don't get the economics out of it that you otherwise should. And then you look at how other people did it, and then what did they not see that you're starting to recognize, and how do you plot forward? And if you're already in it, how do you move forward? That's the practical advantage of having certain things, of the knowledge that I'm talking about. That's the group shit, and that's the individual shit. Because me, I interact with black women a lot more. Like, you all would be kind of shocked at how much I actually do interact with black women. Like seriously. Like, I can find myself in situations where I'm one of the only. I'm alone, and I'm around. I ain't talking about hood. I'm talking about motherfuckers that like it can economically cost me. And it's not people I gotta kiss their ass or anything. It's just because I don't, because I'm who I am. Um, it's just, you all would be surprised, like, really. So, especially knowing what I know, and seeing what I see. But the point is, I don't see that in what these dudes are talking about. All I see is these emotionally need. And to be fair, that like let's talk about the JEW elephant in the room. Let's talk about that. There's people that I know that I respect. And this is one of these things where they are very passionate about it. And it's like they can't express it out in the open. And to be honest with you, from a black male standpoint, it's like black men have this axe to grind. Not all of them, not even most of them. The ones I'm talking about with Jewish folks. It's like they want to separate them from normal white people, and it's kind of like they want to put them in this thing where if that gets solved, like white people get solved. And if you ask them that as bluntly as I say it, then they'll kind of back off of that. But they will reference to me Jordan Peterson. They will more than Alex Jones. The ones that are most sophisticated about Jordan Peterson and some stuff that they present to me to be fair. They present evidence. They present stuff like this is not some stuff that they just talking out their ass, and they present some stuff that's definitely passes the reasonable doubt test. And to be fair, I'm not like, but my thing that I ask them is all of that worth it? Is because right now, if you look at like Africa, for instance, you're not gonna tell me that China is not taking over Africa. You're not gonna tell me that. So that's much more important to me within the realm of that stuff than it is worrying about what they're doing in like white politics. I only worry from the vector by which we deal with them, which is usually in Hollywood and financial. Outside of that, we have a very mixed history with them. Some of it, a lot of it's good, a lot of it's not so great. But they really don't even have the numbers, quite frankly, to even really do stuff. That's why they have to be where they are in the way that they are. So I think it's too much, and I think too that the same folks that will bring that up will be the same folks that, even though they for the most part agree with what I'm saying. Cause it's, and I'm telling you, it's like when I'm saying this, I'm thinking about 6 or 7 dudes that I know that I respect. That this will lead to a fight. If I like counter this too hard, and this is like, other than this, I'm pretty much on the same page with them with everything else except for this and maybe one other thing, and that's it. And I mean that. And 2 of them I actually deal with in real life. The other ones are more online, but I talk to them on the phone as well. Um, and again, it's not so much about am I right or they're wrong. It's more like I don't see where that's the in Star Wars, that Mace Windu had this power called Shatter Points, to where Shatter Points was his ability to see the thing that if you dealt with that thing, it just dominoed everything else to get you where you want to go. And I just don't see that as the Shatter Point. I don't. I always say if they didn't exist, will white people still do what white people do? And the answer is yes. Will racism still be there in a way that we know it? Yes. Nothing really changes. It's just somebody else takes that place. That's what. So I don't understand, and where the just this urgency, and what I've come to realize is it's just that they can't express it openly. It's like one of those things that, because they can't, and be honest with you, that's why a lot of white folks feel a certain type of way about it, because that's the one group that if you talk shit about that group, there's real consequences for everybody, because that's how deep into it they've gotten. And we could talk about the emasculation of the black man, because that's definitely something, but that's more Hollywood in general. But that's definitely something. So there are things. But my point is, at what point, and to be fair, these are folks that you bring up the topic, they're passionate on the topic, but they do a lot of other shit. So they're not, any of these people are not in the category of they worry about this so much. They're not productive. Hell, most of them are more productive than I am, a lot more. So so they're just an example. But what I'm talking about is dudes that they will take something like that, and that will counter their own production. They haven't gotten where they need to be because they're too worried about the tinfoil shit. And to be fair, a lot of these people that I'm talking about that I used to deal with in real life a lot more, back in the day, it'd be on the hip hop blood sacrifice shit. And you have to separate how you feel about something from what it really is. Because that's how you get the practicality of it. As a marketer, I understand that. You have to separate the why somebody likes something, like saying that you don't agree to the why that they like it, to the fact that they like it. It's like when dudes, like, give me a perfect example. You talk about dudes when it comes to the OnlyFans shit. A lot of dudes, they have this knee jerk reaction, talk about, oh, you a simp, you this, you that, just off the concept of somebody doing that, not really understanding that a lot of those dollars that used to be spent in the strip club are dollars that can be spent in the comfort of your own home. And you're getting kind of the same effect. Now, it doesn't matter how you feel about if that's true or not true. The point is that is what's happening. Just like how back in the day, women that were pretty could do models, and that stuff was a lot more controlled. And not just like traditional supermodels or traditional modeling, but like commercials, you know, um, um, a lot of different shit. Calendars, you know what I'm talking about. Commercials, calendars, fucking magazines, that sort of shit. Smooth magazine, all that stuff. That stuff doesn't exist as much as it used to. Not the low level like Smooth magazines. The low level hip hop magazines that always feature good looking women or exotic women. You know that shit. That energy has been transferred more to stuff like Instagram. And there was sites before Instagram. It's just Instagram is the one that caught her, like, basically curated it to one focal point more than anything. People, there was model mayhem, there was a lot of different stuff. But Instagram was like, and then there was other things that started to do that outside of it. They started to kind of wrap around it. Instagram, like Twitter and stuff like that, from that perspective. So it focused it and it liberalized it. So that's how I'm looking at it, because that's how you see how other markets kind of slow down and other markets come up. And it's the same thing with that shit. Because the private Snapchat camera shit, that's been going on for a minute anyway. It's just that platform is one of a couple platforms that seem to have gotten something right, to where it's like a lot of people want to use it, as well as a lot of people want to be featured on it. And you all would be surprised, even when you look at how, like, people are oh, well, people are just taking these pictures and just, you can see that for free. Yeah, but no, you'd be surprised how good these bots are and how good they're getting. Going to get their shit. You'd be surprised, because now there's real money in it, and now the money's more desperate. The point is, it's about understanding a market, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's whatever. But dudes will focus on the emotional. Dudes will focus on the simp shit of it, which, quite frankly, is irrelevant, because you calling somebody a simp ain't gonna stop somebody from doing what the fuck they do. No different than if I call you a simp, it's gonna stop you from going and enjoying a strip club. You gonna do what you gonna do, because the thing about it is, you don't need to know that that's what somebody does. If somebody just tricking money off of OnlyFans or something like that, you ain't never gonna know that's what they do unless they tell you, and they have no reason to tell you. So even the point of you calling somebody a name, you got somebody right up under your nose that does that, you would never know. And does it even matter if they do? But to dudes, it does. But that's the thing. Privacy. That's why, a lot of these websites took off in the porn industry, because of privacy. It's all about privacy. And I say that because folks focus on the wrong things, because at the end of the day, how can you translate this information to either making money out of it or getting some kind of production out of it? That's the point. But dudes always forget that, because they're focused on this kind of religion of manhood that they think they got. Or going back to the political stuff, they're emotionally connected to stuff. Like, I was listening to this dude that was a soldier, and he was in the military, and he's talking about, well, I've been there. I'm like, just because you a soldier don't mean you know shit. You may know shit to the average civilian, but BGS ain't the average civilian. It's just like when motherfuckers always talk about, like, Africans or Hispanics always try to give you a history lesson on their people, like you don't understand that black people their grandparents were black and shit, like they really believe you don't, because, and to be fair, they're used to dealing with people that don't know more than they do. They're not used to dealing with that. Not in that particular topic. So they're used to being able to say something and not be challenged. So when it gets challenged, they really don't know how to handle it. So people call it disrespect, or they call it, these are all opinions. Like, no, it's not. Like, you really need to go, this is what you do. If somebody hits you with something that you don't like, you basically say, all right, I acknowledge that, and then you go and you basically see if what they saying is bullshit or not. And then you come back with the new evidence that counters it. That's how you do that. And you legitimately look to see if what they're saying is plausible. Not no, oh, I just need to be right, so I want to counter it. That's how you really do due diligence. Not no, okay, we gonna argue, because at this point, once you're clear on what a disagreement is, and you've hashed out, the lefts and the rights of it, at that point, if that doesn't deal with it, then at some point you need to find something that counters it. But when we look at, like, even when he was asking about Israel and he was talking about Iraq and Iran, the stuff he was saying was like practical things of how you would deal with it. And the question I would ask him if I would have been on there was, I would say, okay, can you show me any time in history where what you're saying happened the way you're saying it? Because when it comes to like operations like that or diplomacy, that stuff tends to operate in patterns. It tends to. That's why when people say history repeats itself, but that question never got asked, and dude just was like, "Oh, well, it's got to be," because he was just so connected to that Israel controls everything. And I'm not, and look, I'm not saying like I'm right and somebody else is wrong. I don't know. But at the end of the day, even if that was, even let's say that is true, okay, what are you gonna do about that as a black man? That's what I'm talking about. Now, when you look at how black, now this is when I was on the pay the video, and there was this other dude. The first dude was, well, not the first dude, but the second dude was on. He kept on coming back to this magical white folk shit, and he didn't want to say that's what he was saying, but that essentially was what he was saying. Like he kept on saying, well, white people understand power and black people don't understand power. No, white people are more patriarchal. White people are more, what he was trying to say is white people are more medieval. If you understand how white folks organize themselves, when you take off all the layers, they're still on that, the one like aristocrat shit, other class right below the aristocrats, and then everybody else is serfs. They organize themselves that way. When you remove a lot of the other ways, organizational ways, I understood what he was saying, but the way he was communicating it was off. They have their individualism, but they will sync up. But they generally only do that when they're threatened with another race. That's generally how they move, and that's how you see a lot of their political patterns. It's about them holding resources against other groups and then against each other. But see, he wasn't getting that out. He just kept on articulating it wrong. Well, they just understand power like black folks. No, they don't. Because serfs don't understand power. They do what they're told. That's not you having power. That's you doing what you're told. Those are two different things. Black, as far as us, our issue is that our agenda is not correct. We quite frankly have different agendas depending on what part of the black community you're talking about. Even if you segment it via gender, black women have completely two different agenda. The average black woman has two completely different political agenda than the average black man. Completely different agenda. If you really talk to them. And then a lot of dudes that don't that have the same agenda as women, if you actually ask them how does that agenda benefit you, they can't tell you. They can't. Now women can say how the agenda they have benefits them, but dudes can't. But see, when you start realizing that, now the emotions kick in. And you saw that on that. It was that, oh my God, I just don't, it's all opinions. No, it's not, because I'm trying to get to something real. And so dudes like to talk about this big ticket subjective shit that never goes anywhere, because that's what intellectual masturbation is. That's the definition of intellectual masturbation. And so at the end of the day, it's like, okay, what are we really talking about? Because we're not talking about, okay, this is what the issue is with black people and how they deal with the political system. We're not talking about that. What we're talking about is just we just having straight up into circular talk just to have circular talk. People, and what happens is when people talk about disrespect shit, people are talking about they want to be heard and they think they're not being heard because you're just shutting them down, and that's not what it is. What it is, and see, that's how black women operate too. If they feel like it's more important for them to be heard than to be right. Now it's only important if they feel they're right. And I'm like, everybody doesn't have to entertain. Everybody doesn't have to entertain that shit like that. They don't. Because you have to remember, you're coming to a stream where we've talked about this stuff back and forth, up and down, sideways for like years now. And a lot of stuff that's happening, stuff that was discussed a long time ago. And it's coming to fruition. But see, he doesn't know that because he just found the channel. And so it's like, and so I get why he reacted the way he reacted, but it ain't nothing that he ain't done to anybody else. So he's, oh, you're disrespecting me. Ain't nobody disrespecting you, dude. You just not coming the way you need to come. You're not, that is what it is. So anyway, I think I got enough. Yeah, appreciate that fast attack. What's up, Pharaoh? What's up, God Eagle? What's up? What's up, O'Shea? O'Shea was like 3,000. He was like surprised. I thought that was something. I was like, shit, that's something to me. You never know. You because that momentum, man. To be honest with you, man, I drip drip, but I'm gonna start switching up. Like I got some. In fact, a lot of the stuff that I'm gonna start doing, I'm gonna really start documenting it because I think like I'll give you a perfect example before I go through y'all shit. Like a lot of people would say, okay, because O'Shea was talking about, oh, y'all need to do more content. I'm not trying to react to shit. I'm just saying. He said y'all need to stop live streaming. And that's and that is fine. That's his opinion, and that's fine. But when you actually look at it, a lot of people believe that you gotta buy, premium software in order to do a video. Because if you let's say you do a video like what Jada Black does. Jada Black basically does the classic slideshow, narration. So basically his voice, music under that, and then stop music under that, stop music he chooses, and then he does pictures flipping, and then they do the pan in. It's not just pick slide. It's they pan in a little bit very slowly, pan out very slowly, and then the transitions are like fade transitions, right? You could do it that way. You could do it to where it's just one picture if you really wanted to do that. Um, because a lot of it's got the mouthpiece, so it's like we don't need to do all the crazy stuff, and it's not really complicated what a lot of people do. I mean, I would say like what O'Shea does with the kind of the voice with the and the music that's a little bit more complicated, a little bit more advanced. That process is a great process. That shit makes me laugh every time. That shit makes me laugh every time. And then what Obsidian does, especially live, but when you look at like certain people, because I mean, I'm gonna keep it real with you. Like Super Bowl, I can show you like case studies on channels. They've been doing the same thing. Anyway, my point is, most people think you have to buy Adobe Premiere for 300, Camtasia for 300. No, you can get like a slideshow maker software actually for free. There's ones that are free. There's ones that are free, $20, $50. Like the most expensive slideshow maker software, if that's the purpose of you making, is $80. But real talk, you can really get them for free for what you absolutely need to do. If you needed to do, um, and then there's a free software called Audacity that allows you to do music. You can add the music and then add it back to the. So that's one thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to map out the process too. That way more people can do it because really there's a purpose to doing. If you do videos, live streams have their purpose, but the more videos you can put out in a process, the more you're giving the algorithm to properly categorize your channel, and the more topics and stuff they can put your channel in. So actually, you could arguably grow just as much over time. You can grow more over time with doing the videos those types of ways, because a lot of these content, especially as fast as I talk, the stuff could be like 10 minutes, 7 minutes. And then I do 7 minutes times, an hour, I've got X amount of videos broken up, and it also allows me to focus what I'm saying and not ramble as much. So that's something that's gonna happen. So anyway, Sam I am a Lang and now Maury Mo. I mean Maury Mo, I can take questions if you got them. Just put them in the chat, and I'll eventually get to them. Ty City said, "Remember the Ashley Madison website?" Yep, and I remember when Corey Holcomb interviewed the dude from Ashley Madison, and he asked him that question like, "Have you ever cheated?" He didn't want to answer it. Ashley Madison was Ashley, and Ashley Madison is still a great concept. The problem with Ashley Madison is Ashley Madison got hacked, and when Ashley Madison got hacked, I mean that's some shit. That's some shit that just can't happen. That killed his website. Joshua said, "How do you get over a child you can't see?" What are you talking about? What's up, truth as I know it? Dollar Washer says, Edward Anderson, what should our agenda be for the future? What direction should we go? Hurricane, all you need is Linux distro and you can produce high quality videos with ease. I'll look into Linux distro. But Linux can be more complicated what people want to deal with, dude. But I'll definitely deal with Linux. In fact, I'll definitely look into that. I'm all for masterminding. I do that for a living. I mean, shit, y'all be surprised. But anyway, Linux distro. I will say that one thing that needs to be harnessed is basic things on OBS. That's not true, Grant Admiral. I don't know what you're talking about. So anyway, let me go. Dollar Watcher says, what should our agenda be? Okay, so if I'm gonna talk from I'm in the House of Representatives and I'm representing black men. That's who voted me in. What should our agenda be? Number one, we don't have an agenda. So we need to get one. But number two, our agenda should definitely be to benefit us. Like let me give you an example. Let me be specific. One concept is black men need to understand that you're never gonna have an actual black community without black men being in the lead of it. Anything else is just going to be subservient to another group. All this, we validating other groups. We want to help other groups before ourselves. You are never going to have a competitive community unless black men are in it. So, as far as I'm concerned, if black men are not going to be in the lead of the community, black men, quite frankly, don't even need to worry about the community. Now, that's as far as the group thing. As far as um, we also, so what does that really look like? That looks like we need to have an agenda of getting black men. um Everything needs to be in the positive in black men. When I say that, I mean black men need to be able to get gainful employment. They need to be able to get the skills that can make them gainfully employed. Economics. What are the skills? Black men need to be able to defend themselves traditionally. I think black men need to have an agenda of firearms. I mean, just the basic shit of what you need to have as a competitive group. You need to be able to, black men need to get into understanding this economy, interacting with this economy in all its aspects. Black men need to basically be more worldly. I'm not saying you got to leave the country, but you need to understand what's going on outside the country. You need to be able to forge, economic partnerships with other groups. But you have to have your shit together first as a group. We need to start building some of this stuff from scratch and taking back over all other situations. We need to start where we are, which are things like the church, things like these black schools that ain't nobody giving money to. So we focus the academia with money towards a lot of these historically black colleges, the ones that really need money, the ones that are really desperate for money, because those are the ones that we could take control of as far as what the agenda are, as far as how folks are educated. We need to start not we need to I would say this to be very, very simple, very, very simple. What should the black agenda be first? Fuck the bullshit. Fuck me talk about everything. What is it that, but two things. Number one is black men need to realize the black community can't run without us. It can't run effectively without us. That's a recognition. And then as far as what should black men do, black men should pull out. if you who Anything did black people traditionally support, black men need to fucking abandon it if it doesn't serve us. If it doesn't serve black men or black boys, they need to abandon everything. No matter what the consequences are, no matter how much people bitch and cry, what about the baby? What about this? What about that? Fuck it. Abandon everything. If it doesn't, we do an inventory, and if it does not benefit us at all, abandon it as a group. So politically, the Democrats do not benefit black people. Abandon it. I'm not telling you to say vote for Republican. I don't give a shit if you vote third party. Abandon it. We need a strategic withdrawal to let people know. It's kind of like, I don't want to call it going on strike. I don't want to call it that, but it's basically a mass walk away from the table of everything. If it does not benefit you, leave it. Leave it. And don't let nobody tell you different. That is the very, very first thing that black people need to do collectively. And I think that's something that black people can agree with collectively. Now, you'd be surprised how many black people actually benefit from the gynocracy. So you be surprised at how many people that are hesitant to leave because they directly benefit from shit as it is. That is the first thing that's on the agenda. Now, there's a lot of pre shit that's like, okay, if we do this, we need to be on the same page with whatever group that is. Because I'm not talking about all black men, because all black men are never going to be on the same page. A lot of black men benefit from this situation. They benefit economically from it. A lot of them benefit sexually from the way the situation is, and they're cool with that. A lot of black men are very cool with economically being subservient as long as they can be sexually dominant. You got to remember that. And other men don't operate that way. That's the first thing. There's a lot of like prerequisite stuff as far as getting black men, looking to get black men employed, looking to get black men um economically very economically adaptable in this global economy. But as far as the first action, that's the first action. And if you all want to say, oh, that seems like that's harsh, no, it's not. Because black men have already all but abandoned the black church. And the black church is still there. I don't think enough black men have left the church, but it's still there. So we need to stop supporting shit that doesn't benefit us. And that includes starting with our women. If it doesn't benefit us, we don't support it. If you can't make the case that it benefits us, then we ain't supporting it. It's that clear. And not no bullshit. I'm talking about tangible. How does it support us? And when I say us, you know what us means: men, boys, all of that. So that's the first thing. So everything. So if you notice in my channel, everything that I talk about amongst that when it comes to the gynocracy talk services that action. It lets you know why that's important and why it's important for you to actually look at it. Because most black men support a hell of a lot of shit that doesn't benefit us, and other groups don't do that. Not to the extent that we do it. Yeah, Ashley Madison got hacked a while ago. That's old news. That happened like 2 years ago. And remember, Darth masculine is black male first doesn't mean black male only. It just means black male first. And people like to make it sound like it means black male only, and that's not what nobody's saying. It means that I'm gonna make sure I'm good, or whatever situation I enter into, there's a reason I'm in it. He said, I mean, I'm gonna look at this shit you talking about, man, because I said what I said was there's a reason I said a slideshow maker, not just. I ain't trying to get another operating system, but like I said, I gotta look into it. Archer says, Edward, you voted into the House of Representatives. You are the spokesperson for black men. What should our agenda be on taxation policies? On taxation policies. I mean, first things first, all black men don't need a business, but all black men need to be investing in some level. Whether you're investing in each other, you're creating partnerships. Um, I have some thoughts on that. But when it comes to taxation policies, I mean, the law doesn't need to change. You just need to get into the part of the law that benefits you. So, the law is going to benefit, most black people are employed. And if you understand where most of the black male wealth is, it's actually in the blue collar fields. So I mean, you just have to, I could go over. I may do a video on that shit. If I was in the House of Representative, what do you niggas want? That might be a good video. Yeah, hard folks fork says I've been hoping you talk more digital marketing, how to funnels and insider tips. Yeah, I'm probably gonna create a group specifically for that because I have there's some stuff out here like it doesn't matter. Like if you have like 20 like 30 bucks, I can show you how to do something. Like seriously. Yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson was the name. Well, I mean, it's not even about that, man. You do everything. Like, I trust me. That it's not about this versus that. I'm not in that shit. Like real talk. He said OnlyFans is a bootleg backpack. 9% of thoughts are there selling. Yeah, that's true. I won't say 90 because they're there selling. They're selling pictures. It's not the same as Backpage, Young Jay. No, it's not. It's not. Come on now. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Like back page, no. That's like comparing a newspaper to a website. Come on, man. African movement says I can tell you that they're not taking over Africa. I think you mean the Jewish thing. What up, Anthony Southeast? Grand Admiral said, "This is why I tell black men to give up on interracial dating. Non-black women aren't checking for brothers like that." I mean, Grand Admiral, that's not true. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, and let's say and define checking for. If we're talking about sexual access, then that's definitely not true. If you're talking about long-term relationships, okay, you may have more of a point. That may be more, but even then, again, you're talking about from the American context, and I think we apply. No, that's not true. I don't even know why you even say that. And if that is true, let them figure that out on their own. But that's not true what you're saying. I don't even know why and you know that's not true. I don't know why you would even say that shit. Um, Graham, see, and I wish my answers had jumped into the ocean. Well, if they had jumped in the ocean, you wouldn't be alive. So I mean, that Grand Admiral, I got respect for you, but that's emotional talk. You say you wish they would have jumped into the ocean and been right. Guess what? What about the ancestors that endured so you can live? Do you see how disrespectful that is? That's like saying if you have a woman, let's say you have a man that worked his whole life. What's that saving daisies bullshit? A man that worked his whole life so he could put food on the table, and you said, "I'd rather be rich. I just wish you would have just not fed us." You understand how disrespectful that would be? What's a black cell? I don't know what a black cell is. Black people must abandon all. What do you talk? Okay, so now you kind of talking stupid. I agree that we got to start with each other as far as and I'm saying when I say each other, I'm talking black men first, and I'm not even talking about all black men. I'm talking about black men on the same page because we're not on the same page. Well, I don't buy into this idea of game. I think like I call it social skills. This idea of game, like game means everything to everybody. It means anything to anybody. So game is like a religion. So when people say game, that can mean I don't really understand what people are communicating when they're saying that. Now I use the term social skills. Game is just like placeholder that folks like to say. Well, if you had this magical power, if you had the force. Whenever I hear niggas talk about game or women talk about game, I pretty much imagine they're talking about the force. If you had this force and if you had strong enough force, you could just make them do it. That don't but you don't even know what the force is and what it's supposed to be. Like average people talking about the force versus like a Jedi talk about the force. That's how game is. Game, it like means different, and it's this thing of saying, "Yeah, man, I know about game, so you need to listen to me." And it's not. It's something that you don't have to factually validate it. And too many black folks are on that shit. Well, if you had game, you'd have these people doing this. Not necessarily because that shit is built for them not to need you. Like most of these thoughts, you know what these thoughts can do with their phones? Every time Instagram comes up with a new shit or Snapchat, they the first ones learning how to use it. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I got an Instagram page where I follow thoughts, and I'm gonna tell you, there's a lot of techniques as far as doing video work, phone video camera shit that I've learned from them because they do just by observing like some of the things they do on their Snapchat and their pages. A lot of y'all don't think about that. So my point is they don't need you. So this idea, but like for example, like this is how you would do it if you're gonna do it. And I got an email. It's a dude that emailed me and I didn't get back to him, and I need to get back to him. But how you would do it is if you were gonna do it, you would not. I'll say it this way: eventually you have to understand that on that shit, you have to always be able to do something they can't do. That's number one. Because in America, they are going to be asking why, what do I need you for? None of these chicks are so stupid that they can't point and click a phone. It's beyond that now. So if you get into that arena, you're dealing with them. They're not dealing with you. And I know that's true because if you look at a lot of like black, not black, but photographers, like Fawcett and some of the other photographers, what happened? They even like hell, even Wild and Out. If you look at most of the chicks on Wild and Out, they get on. They start. Some of them start doing this sexual shit. Um, they find out what is it that what value you bringing that they can't duplicate. So for Nick Cannon, it's that show, and that is promotion at a high level. For like the Fawcett and other photographers, it's good pictures, it's promotion, but they can outgrow them. So you always have to be in a situation where they need you for something because that's the only way they're going to respect you. And dudes don't really think about that because dudes are worrying about game and not really understanding that these women, like for instance, most of these dudes, when it comes to game, the only thing that's keeping a woman compliant is sexual satisfaction because that is a very strong, very valuable commodity to women. So it ain't about game just get you in. But if you can't close the deal, game don't mean shit. This idea that dudes can emotionally like that happens sometimes, but it ain't usually like that. And I think dudes be selling themselves shorts when they say that. But what I would do is if I was gonna pursue this is I would go like to Latin America because technology is very difficult for them to get access to, and then I would hook them up. But see, even still, when you look at doing it from a honestly, if you're gonna do that, you might as well learn. It's just different ways to get into it. You may want to ask Ramil about that shit. I'm not gonna get into that on this video, but that photographer stuff is a good example. You look at the chick that just about to get divorced to Neo. I remember when she was coming up because this was like right around the transition when Instagram was shit was more transferred to Instagram from the traditional shit. And I remember how a dude used to always have an issue with these chicks because he would basically give these chicks the game, not like the game, but just how to get their body right, how to do all that. And as soon as they outgrew him, they didn't have a sense of loyalty, they didn't have a sense of partnership. They got hypergamous and moved on to the next person. We don't really respect when dudes do that, but females, that's called being hypergamous. And that's why you always have to look at, okay, this is what is it that I have that they can't get anywhere else or can't get easily anywhere else. And dudes don't think that way. Now, for that dude as a photographer, he's building his own craft and building his own stuff. So he's still getting stuff out of it. But the way y'all are thinking about it is not how it's going to go down. And unfortunately, that doesn't, most women can't play that hypergamous game because what they do is they start burning. The smart women, as BGS would call the natural 92s, understand not to burn bridges. You can move on without burning a bridge. You don't want to throw away useful men, but you also have to give value. And that value does not always have to be sex, but you have to give some value to that man. And women, a lot of women only know value is sex. That's the difference between a natural 92 and a 92 climber is they're looking at what people can do for them and they're not looking at a give and take. So they're always looking at it from that vector. This is also why 92 climbers don't typically see value in people as easily as natural 92s. Some do, but most don't. They see what's in front of them. They're like a dog chasing a bone. And if you don't have a bone, they don't want to fuck with you. They don't think of you as you could get a bone. And that's the shit that Jason Black be trying to talk about, but it always comes out. Jason Black has some good stuff when it comes to game, but some of the stuff you got to kind of pick out. You got to take it for what it is and pick it out. Like I'm actually gonna get on that. I'm gonna let his Patreon. I'm gonna probably get in his Patreon a little bit just so I can see like what he's talking about because he's got a lot of shit that he locked that he needs. I want him to unlock from his old stuff. Like he has a thing about how to interview people. Jason Black has some really good stuff that he had locked up that is definitely worth paying for. Yeah, like that's yeah. So, come on, man, y'all gotta listen to Jada Black and keep you in the game on this shit. Yeah, Neo, that chick, and that's the same chick. And they outgrow you. You gotta be killed or be killed. And you just gotta recognize that's what it is. That is the game. I won't say pimping is dead, Archer. I won't say it's dead, but it's definitely harder than it used to be. No, young Jay, it doesn't. No, young Jay, it doesn't mean the same thing. Social skills, game, gift the gab, charisma, knowledge, all those things mean very different things. First of all, yeah, all those things, like all the things that you name me, they have similar. It's like when people say marketing and sales is the same thing. It's not. It's not. Those things are similar, but they're not the same. There's a reason they have different meanings. So young Jay, no, they're not the same thing. Yeah, you're right, young Jay. We are the only group talk about you need game because we put an emphasis on validating the female's emotions. I'm sick of the game argument, young Jay, because social skills, because the other things you mentioned, like social skills, the gift, the gab, and social skills are kind of similar, but there's not because social skills is more than just verbal. Gift the gab is more of your actual talking. Charisma is more a combination. So they're different, and you got to understand the different things. What's up, Marcus A. Brown? What's up, Marcus A. Brown? A OG, if there ever was one. Manosphere 2.0, if there ever was one. Marcus, you'd have missed it, man. These niggas started to have a 1.0, 2.0 war. Oh yeah, by the way, look, this is the haircut I got. Like, dude, that quarantine cut. This is from a young dude. This is my youngest brother's young. Shout out to the young dudes, man. Dude literally had a barbershop in his house. Dumbasses were blazing up though. Got on my nerves like other two. But yeah, good. He had that hustle. He said, "I'm using this to get my clientele." I don't really know what Sigma male is. I've never looked in the difference. Red pill scuffles. Niggas been beefing. You know what happens. You got niggas that are quarantined. Niggas are gonna talk shit, Marcus. I hope you're doing well because you hearing about some of these ships catching that Rona. You be like, God damn. But yeah, man. So just be looking out, man. People are definitely going to use this as an opportunity. Don't you cheap niggas try to use that stimulus money to get that new iPhone. Apple has something for your ass. They said, "Yeah, I got this cheap iPhone for you, for all you motherfuckers that think y'all was safe with the free phones." Nigga be like, "Yeah, man, I got an iPhone." All right, y'all. So I just wanted to test out this mic. So with that being said, this is Edward signing off. Peace. Peace out. You said you're in training. All right. Yeah, man, we need to catch up when you get a chance. Um, this year, don't. This is not a lost year. So this is an opportunity. Honestly, motherfuckers at home, this is an opportunity to do a lot of shit, get a lot of shit done. Motherfuckers getting their stimulus checks. Y'all need to be using that to invest in something. I may have something for you. Something. Don't worry, it ain't gonna take your whole fucking check. Something that's like $20. I'm all about lowering the bar as low as possible, so it's just a matter of putting in the work. So stay tuned for that. Um, but like I said, I want to turn the sphere. I want to turn the manosphere into an economic engine because if we can be an economic engine, we can do a lot of shit. We can get a lot of people on that might not have wanted to come on. We can get a lot of better content. It's time to start really taking this thing to like a level. Yeah. So anyway, with that being said, like I said, this is Edward signing off. Peace. Do 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 do.